Everywhere you look, at every turn, every day, one encounters establishments cunningly tailored to relieve individuals of their wealth. From hot chicken at Zaxby's to hot girls at Seven Brew, these enterprises are devised to extract the financial assets of discerning individuals, with me being no exception. All they want is what's in your wallet. With that in mind, I invite you to join me as I meticulously document every expenditure throughout a month of work. Before diving in, I'd like to cover a few points. Rent, not part of the equation, yet. My truck, fully paid for. Essentially, I'm not shackled by hefty monthly bills, meaning I can indulge in unnecessary purchases without worry. The driving force behind the creation of this video was to maintain accountability for my ongoing tendency to purchase frivolous items. My compensation today totals $776.43, reflective of the 57.85 hours dedicated to academy tasks last week, resulting in an hourly rate of $13.42. My initial acquisition was a movie poster from Dublin, Ohio, obtained through eBay, a piece that, upon reflection, was entirely unnecessary. Transitioning to the subsequent acquisition, a $190 wooden fish, one can't help but question the wisdom behind its procurement. With food and coffee setting me back $40 combined with earlier purchases, my daily spending climbs to $306.64, marking the start of financial decline. The second day of my financial journey began with a $40.22 investment in a Mother's Day gift, succeeded by a necessary $63 allocation for fuel. The simple explanation for my gas expenses is my lack of affiliation as an OnlyFans personality driving a Cybertruck, and culminated with the decision to enroll in the Cinemark Movie Club. The inception of my movie escapade was marked by a $15.48 expenditure on a Godzilla vs. Kong ticket, coupled with concession acquisitions amounted to $27.60, constituting my sole outlays for day 3. After spending $8.88 on these 2 drinks, I encountered a $3 charge from a subscription app that I haven't quite figured out how to cancel. Seeing as it's only $3 per month, I decided to cease my efforts to cancel it. I chose to revisit Godzilla vs. Kong during a matinee showing, snagging a ticket at a reduced price of $8.69. Despite surrendering to the allure of overpriced nachos once more, priced at $8.94, my total spending for day 4 remained at a reasonable $29.51. Leveraging the advantageous proposition of day 5's reduced cinema rates, aka discount day, I attended 2 screenings for a paltry sum of $11.40, demonstrating fiscal prudence by eschewing supplementary expenditures. Following this cinematic indulgence, I then made 3 rather mundane yet essential purchases. Tea, gas, and coffee, a trifecta of necessities, if you will. I couldn't resist sending a super chat during an NFL watch party, humorously expressing my grievances, mockingly airing my frustrations about my Academy Sports shift compared to the streamer's paid NFL draft viewing.
Ghost, I want to work at Academy Sports while you're getting paid to watch the NFL draft. Not fair. I mean, listen, just start a podcast, don't make money for 3 years, really kind of 4 years, and work 2 jobs, and then just continue to do it for 9 years.
Now I'm seeing the repercussion of that spending in my bank statement. After tabulating all those escapades, the damages were only $57.84 for the day. Surprisingly, I managed to refrain from spending any money in the following 48 hours. It is at this pivotal juncture that a new character enters the narrative. A character whose presence instills the most profound fear. My girlfriend.
You hit my phone late night talking wild. Said you miss me, girl, don't play now. We used to ride till sun, no sleep.
Following these textual exchanges, she sends me a screenshot of a DoorDash order close to $40, anticipating that I'll cover the cost. Given my reluctance to decline, I allocate $28.91 from my paycheck and $10 from my Apple Pay savings. As the $10 comes from a separate source, I opt to segregate the expenses for pie chart analysis. Day 9 passed without any expenses. However, on day 10, my girlfriend's demands resurface, now with a $25 request for liquor. In the ensuing hours, my financial outlook declines as I'm required to withdraw $388 from my savings to tackle my truck's mechanical troubles. Despite only purchasing 3 items, my trip to Bass Pro Shop sets me back $40.48. Likewise, my visit to Chick-fil-A, where I only got 6 items, ended up costing me $30.95. I replenished my gas tank before making a pit stop at Scooters, where I shelled out $12.15 on a decent bagel and a subpar coffee. Subsequently, I grabbed a bait which would later play a pivotal role in landing a massive 7.5-pound drum, and a white honey bun influenced by a fishing video I watched.
Fill up on your favorite snack. Mine is a honey bun.
He probably took a dive at it.
As my dad and I enjoy our fishing trip, a message from my girlfriend interrupts the tranquility, asking for a payment for her $36 DoorDash meal, despite my bank account only holding $25.80 from my last paycheck. With no other option, I transfer $9.60 from my savings to my checking and then send her the entirety of the money she needs for DoorDash. Consequently, by day 12, I've exhausted the entirety of my $776.43, as well as an additional $407.60 from my savings. Here's a pie chart outlining the allocation of funds from my $776.43 budget. Noteworthy is the predominance of decorations as my top expense, significantly impacting the budget attributed to the purchases of the poster and wooden fish. Securing the runner-up position in expenses was gas, a result anticipated given the consistent requirement for refills. Securing the third position, my girlfriend represented a considerable portion of the expenditures, highlighting the financial commitments tied to her demands. Food and movie tickets came in at 4 and 5 respectively, while the rest of the budget was assigned to miscellaneous things. The implications of this chart are rather distressing, and with 2 days remaining until my next remuneration, I'm compelled to exhaust my savings for all current expenses. Although my father graciously treated me to a meal at a diner, the acquisition of this trout sign incurred an additional withdrawal from my savings. In hindsight, it's evident that my financial acumen has been lacking, with the forthcoming decisions poised to be the most ill-advised. As the final day approached, I found myself making a $200 credit card payment, all because of a spontaneous purchase of a 10-box case of 4 10 shells and a Yeti bucket. It begs the question, why make such a purchase when my paycheck was already gone? The answer is that my emotions simply got the better of me. My girlfriend escalated her tactics this time, resorting to her final jutsu. Pleading eyes emojis in a text, beseeching for DoorDash. Touched by her plea, I transferred $21.66 from my savings to my checking in order to fulfill her request. To prevent future instances, I rushed to purchase a break-to-open ceramic piggy bank, but to my dismay, it failed to prevent another Apple Pay transaction. Alright guys, I'm at Walmart and I have to get a lemon because my dad said he's gonna cook some walleye
Can't play
tonight.
me twice, baby, just pretend. Now she wants back in, yeah, back in my bed.
After I got off work, I went into Walmart with $15.86 and left with Mr. Beast bars, a plant, a lemon, and an Olipop, which brought my daily total up to $253.92, all from my savings account. Upon the inclusion of $253.92 alongside prior savings withdrawals, the cumulative figure for period 1 surpassed the 600 mark. If only I were an OnlyFans girl, I wouldn't have to worry about money. The inauguration of Period 2 heralds the arrival of a paycheck totaling $651.49, earned through 47.6 hours of diligent work, equating precisely to an hourly rate of $13.68.676470588235 Day 1 of the fresh pay cycle transpires as anticipated, with expenditures amounting to a frugal $0.00. Nevertheless, the following day heralds another outflow of $10, responding to my girlfriend's monetary requisites. Day 4 kicks off with a Starbucks treat and a strategic $500 withdrawal from my checking account, with the idea that converting the $500 into cash and leaving it at home would render spontaneous spending impossible. And upon careful analysis, it outperformed the viability of pursuing avenues like OnlyFans as an exclusive career path within the multifaceted framework of modern social norms. Venturing out of my usual habits, I treated myself at McDonald's, overindulging shamelessly, eating everything, then snagging nachos at the cinema before watching Planet of the Apes. An expenditure slightly exceeding $33 was incurred initially, followed by a day devoid of pecuniary activities. However, the subsequent day necessitated a modest allocation for Starbucks and fuel, culminating in an evening at the cinema enveloped in the eerie ambience of the tarot card-inspired horror film, all totaling a mere $32.18. Here I bought some gas, And that wasn't enough, so I bought some more gas. Apple deducted 99 cents for iCloud storage, a service whose termination mechanism eludes my understanding. Mr. Beast's delicious box was gifted to me by an individual who held considerable significance in my life at the time.
What are you doing?
Making sure nothing fly around it, babe. Come on.
You're messing up my video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
From day 8 to day 14, I embarked on our traditional yearly excursion to Florida with my extended family, courtesy of my generous first cousin once removed, who covers all expenses, including the luxurious $3,000 per night Airbnb. Along the way, we stopped at a hotel, and I was mesmerized by the tranquil ambience of observing the interstate from my room after dark. I used the elevator to descend to the first floor where the hotel marketplace awaited, partaking in some sweet treats that had already been covered. Thus, there was a complete absence of monetary transactions on day 8. Once we got to the beach house, I noticed a can of Happy Dad lying untouched in the sand, which I later used for target practice with my AR-15. My dad booked a fishing trip, and while our catch consisted mostly of small ones, the standout moment was when my dad and brother both hooked the same fish simultaneously.
This is where most of the better ones I've been catching have been coming from. We've got to fight through a lot of the smaller ones. Yeah, I just got a pretty good.
Thank you so much for biting, buddy. Thank you so much for biting, buddy.
Now she wants back in, yeah, back in my bed. But she has bad news, messing with my head.
Renting the movie Jumanji was the only financial transaction I made during my Florida trip. You may be curious how I managed to have fun during the last 4 days of the trip without spending any money.
Because laundry and video games.
Let's review the final figures and then dive into some charts to illustrate. In the second pay period, my spending was $549.74 lower than my income. But brace yourself for something disturbing I'm about to reveal. In period 1, my expenditures totaled over $1,400, whereas in the subsequent period they amounted to only $100. In this video, the discrepancy of $123.17 between my income and expenses stands as a testament to improved financial stewardship, starkly contrasting with the distressing memory of my fiscal recklessness in the preceding period, a recollection that elicits extreme visceral discomfort. But in period 2, gas emerged as my biggest expense, costing $36.72, as I didn't spend the green and orange and it only consumed 5.6% of my earnings. Coffee consumption set me back $15.01, marking it as my second largest expense, representing 2.3% of my budget. To encapsulate, period 1 was a struggle, but period 2 was a triumph of sorts. Behold, I present to you a visual depiction meticulously crafted to delineate my fiscal disbursements throughout the entirety of this 28-day video, incorporating the various bone-headed withdrawals from my once prolific but now depleted savings account.